right, so first we're going to start with the elephant in the room. Where's Paul Quarterman? Paul Quarterman is our state delegate, and in these strange and disorienting times and hyperpartisanship, we really want to welcome him and thank him for coming. We also have a member of the Frederick Democratic Central Committee, Josh Kramer. He is also a high school teacher in Washington County, and he's a phenomenal Democrat. All right, so members of the Central Committee, you met me and Bonnie. Randy Barber, our chair. Where's Randy? Oh, there's Randy. And then our vice chair is Pam Faulkner. Andrew Brown is here. He's our secretary. And then Alan Levin. Where's Alan? Alan. Some big news for Alan. He was just appointed by Governor Hogan today to serve a 6-year term on the Board of License Commissions, also known as the Liquor Board. So congratulations to Alan. All right, also tonight with us is Hagertown City Councilwoman Emily Keller. If you get a chance to talk to her tonight, ask her what her favorite color is. We also have Dr. Maya Rockeymoore Cummings. She is the new state leader of the state party. And something really awesome that Maya is doing is our party is now having a platform for the first time. So that's awesome. And then, of course, Congressman David Trone is with us. Yeah, and a special thanks to him for being our sponsor tonight.
As you know, I've been in office now a little over 4 months. And I want to thank you in this audience for helping make that possible. So thank you for the hard work you guys and gals have all done to help get us here. Then I want to ask you for another favor. We got to get back again. It's hard to believe, 2 years. That's a really bad idea. Really a bad idea. But it's not changing. So the bottom line is we think this district, we were speaking about it earlier. I think it's going to come out of the Supreme Court probably next week, if not the week after. And we don't know what the court's going to do. I attended both hearings at the Supreme Court with my friends at the American Civil Liberties Union. We all went together to understand what perhaps is going to happen. It's going to be a 5-4 decision. I don't know what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, we do know that while this seat is more likely, very likely to be a lot more Republican and a lot more difficult to win. But I give you my commitment, no one's going to outwork us. No one is going to outwork us. And I'll put every resource I have to continue because I ran for politics to make a difference. And we can't make a difference in just 2 years. We need to be here. We need to get back the Senate, get back the White House, and then we can really begin to make a difference on so many important issues. But we need your help. This week we had an education tour. Every day this week we've been going, folks, and looking at education. I'm the only member of the Maryland delegation that serves on the Education and Labor Committee. I asked for that. That was my first choice. The speaker asked, where do you want to serve? I think she expected I'd want to be in a business committee like financial services. And I said, no. I said, I want to be in education and labor because that's where we can make a difference and really think long term. Because everything we do, I do it for my kids, and you do it for your kids. And if we can improve the education system, a number of other things we're talking about, that's the long-term return that we need. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that I look upon my job as helping create jobs. I've created around the country over 7,000 jobs in my business. I understand business and job creation. So I want to be a tool. And if you have companies, I've talked to a number of folks in Hagertown and throughout the county that are thinking about coming to this county, considering it. You know, I've been on the phone, and I want to get on the phone more and more to talk about what's good here and what's great here in Washington County and the quality of life and the quality workforce they have and why these folks need to locate their jobs here. We Democrats got to get stuff done in the House. It may go nowhere in the Senate. McConnell put it in his graveyard. But if we set the tone that we get stuff done that helps the American people, then we're going to come out much better in this next election. We're going to come out ahead in the other two pieces. We'll hold the House and we'll get the Senate and the White House. Our group has put together a series of bills. Just quickly, we're going to probably have about 20 pieces of legislation when we're done, all bipartisan, and I want other people to be in the front on these bills. Because when other folks are in the front, they're going to help take ownership of our issue, and they're going to help drive it. Because we alone can't drive it. We have to create a team. And that's what you do in business, and that's what you do here. Prevent the idea, create the vision, then show how we're going to take the steps to get there. We're going to get there. The other day, did anybody see the fun we had with Betsy DeVos? Yeah. So we couldn't get Betsy DeVos in questioning to agree that integration in our schools was a really good thing. She couldn't come around to that. I mean, it's absolutely mind-blowing. 65 years from Brown versus Board of Education, and we're still fighting this same battle. And we have a Secretary of Education that doesn't understand that our kids shouldn't be going to segregated schools, and we become more segregated in the last 2 decades than we were before that. That's a disaster. One goal transcends everything. What's that one goal? We got to get that son of a bitch out of the White House.
We've got a merry band of warriors here, and guess what? You are it. Now, you know, the county might not yet be that purple, heading to blue, but we are working toward it, right? And guess what? It starts right here tonight, and we know that candidates actually depend on an infrastructure in order to thrive and survive. There is an ecosystem to democracy, and this is it. And so I just want to thank you for being here tonight to support our Central Committee, for watering the roots of the party and making sure that we're strong so that we can do what we need to do to canvass, to get out there, create tables at various events, register people to vote, do everything that we need to do to tell people, guess what? We are proud Democrats. We've got an erratic leader sitting in the White House. And this erratic leader is no good for the country, is no good for the world, and is certainly no good for the state of Maryland. When you have somebody who wouldn't give a care or a thought to shutting down the government, and how many of you know that 29% of our economy here in the state of Maryland is dependent upon the federal government? We've got civil servants all over the place. We've got federal contractors all over the place. We've got all kinds of federal installations in this state. We've got subcontractors of our contractors in this state. And so to have someone who is so very erratic, who doesn't give a care or a thought in the world to basically selfishly shutting down the government and imperiling the livelihood and the economic circumstance of all these people, we can't afford it. We literally can't afford it as a state of Maryland. We're facing a threat from a party who likes to call everybody else bad for actually having identity politics when they've got the granddaddy of identity politics going on, which is a multi-year, decades-long effort to make sure that we are actually creating apartheid America. And frankly, I don't know about you, but we are not going back there. So here in the state of Maryland, what we're doing to fight back is to build our party infrastructure. And we've got a plan called Go Deep, and we are actually executing on this plan. And the DEEP is an acronym. The D stands for Define Our Values, making sure that we articulate where we stand, what we stand for, and to paint a vision of what we want for our state in a way to get there. We're going to do that by actually implementing and advancing the first ever party platform for the state of Maryland. And I'm very proud that we're getting that done, and we're expecting it's going to take anywhere from 7 months to a year to complete. The first E stands for enhance our infrastructure. The fact of the matter is the Republicans are actually running circles around us when it comes to messaging and communications, when it comes to some of the critical functional things that we need to do in terms of building our infrastructure with regards to data analytics and data collection. And so and fundraising. You wouldn't be surprised that they're actually doing very well with fundraising compared to us. And so we've got to get better. We've got to get stronger. There's nothing wrong with saying that you need to get better. And so we're creating a 24/7, 365-day-a-year party infrastructure, and it's starting right now, right here. We are hiring organizers, not next year, now, around the state. Skylar is your Western Maryland organizer, and he will be working in combination with the Central Committee here and in other counties in Western Maryland to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to maximize our turnout, maximize our registrations, maximize our mobilization opportunities and education opportunities, and we are gonna do this. Do you hear me? The second E stands for expand our base. How many of you knew in this last election that 25% of Democrats actually decided to vote for the Republican governor? That means that they split their ticket to actually vote for a Republican at the top of the ticket. If we're gonna have 25% of our Democrats essentially nullify the will of primary Democratic voters by basically deserting the party because they want to pack up their marbles and go home because they don't like the Democratic candidate, then that means that we actually have to expand our base by at least that much. And then finally, the P stands for protect our vote. The fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, that up until December, we had a Russian oligarch sitting on top of our electoral system as a major investor in a vendor that we had hired to take care of our elections. Now, how sad is that, given what we know happened with the Russians in our 2016 elections, and also what we know the federal government has been warning us with regards to how the Russians are actually targeting our state and local electoral infrastructure. So we've got to be vigilant. How many of you remember the 86,000 registrations that were messed up at the Motor Vehicle Administration this last election cycle? That caused some people not to be able to vote in that primary, and it caused other people to have to go and actually cast a provisional ballot, and they left the polling place not knowing if their vote mattered. We absolutely have to do better, Maryland. We have to do better. We can't assume that we're a blue state and we have nothing to worry about. We have to be vigilant. Because what do we know? We know that if we do not have faith in our electoral system, then we do not have a democracy. And I just want to end by saying this, and that is, yes, we have, is it 23 or 24 presidential primary candidates? So that means you got every flavor in the book. Every flavor in the book. But get this, somebody's gonna come out of this process. And so as Congressman Trone said, we cannot afford the, I'm taking my marbles and go home approach this year. We can't afford it. We can't afford it, ladies and gentlemen. And so that means that whatever we do, we have to focus on turning the White House blue. So thank you so much.